What is going on, my friends? My name is Adam, otherwise known as Lord of Wolves 92, and today I'm coming at you with another video for a Destiny Item Manager tutorial in 2020. So this is going to have some updated features, as well as some search strings you can put into your search bar to really help you filter out your gear and get your vault ready for Beyond Light coming now in November. So starting with tip number 1, it's going to be dismantle exotic weapons that are lower power than your collections. So basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go into your vault and take a look at all of your exotic weapons that are in here that are at a lower level than what you can pull out of your collections. So for instance, because on my Titan I'm 1060, you can see right over here, all my gear is 1060. I can pull exotic weapons out of my collection that are up to 1040. So what you're going to want to do is figure out, number 1, what your collection is set at. And then number 2, you're going to take that into the search bar here, and you're going to filter out all the exotic weapons that are beneath that level. So I'm going to put in a string that I've got in the description. You can use these strings in the description. I'm going to copy paste that in here. And you're going to see here a whole bunch of exotic weapons that are under the 1040 power limit. Basically what that means is I can safely dismantle these and then go into my collections and pull out a higher version of these weapons. But since you don't use exotic weapons all the time, it's kind of safe to leave them dismantled for now. How often am I going to be using the Chaperone if I'm doing PvE content? How often am I using Sweet Business, right? And who uses that gun anymore? So we're going to go ahead and bulk mark these as junk. Right, so those are all marked as junk, right? Alright. Moving on to tip number 2 would be check your dupes, alright? So you're going to start with your kinetic weapon duplicates. You're going to move on to your energy and your heavy weapons. And you're going to really boil down and make sure that you tag your weapons as either junk, keep, or infuse. Try to keep it to junk, keep, or infuse, right? You want to make sure you're really paying attention to what you have here. So once again, in the description, you'll have the search string. We're going to copy, we're going to paste, is dupe kinetic. So you can see here I have 28 kinetic weapons that are duplicates. Basically, in a perfect world, that would be narrowed down to about 14 because we're going to delete half of those. And then narrow down even further because we're going to click some as infuse. Now, I'm not going to do that live on this video. I'll do that in the background later on, but you definitely want to look through. I'll do a few of these here. So, okay, I have these Austringers, right? Let's check. We're going to click one, click the compare button here. This one has Outlaw Rangefinder, that's actually pretty good. This one's got Triple Tap and Zen Moment, not too interested in that role, so we're going to junk that, we're going to keep this one, right? Then we click off, we can move on to another one. Let's take a look at this one small step. Alright, this one's got Threat Detector Snapshot, this one's got Grave Robber 1-2 Punch, pretty obviously there, but this one's 1059 and this one's only 1050, so we're going to tag this one as Infuse. The other one's already marked as Keep, perfect. So you're going to move on, you're going to do that with your kinetic, you're going to do it with your energy, and you're going to do it with your heavy slots too. So copy, paste, energy, right? Whoops. So I have 30 items here. You'd go through, you can see I've already marked a lot of these already. Do the same with your heavy. Now what you want to do is you want to look at your roles and really ask yourself the question, are you mainly a PvE player or a PvP player? And with that in mind, if you're a PvE player, are you going to be using these weapons in raids or nightfalls? And if so, what are the roles that you're going to be looking for in that higher level content? Because most likely, your higher level guns are going to be able to be used in lower level content, obviously. PvP, same thing. What kind of gun, what kind of role would you take into Trials? Would you take into Comp? Would you take into Iron Banner? And really use that to boil down and narrow down which roles you want to keep. Remember guys, this is a loot-based shooter. You'll get more loot as you play the game, and we've got a whole bunch of new loot coming in Beyond Light. So don't be afraid to really boil down and make that one particular choice. Maybe that makes you use that gun in the future, who knows, right? So you're going to go through, check your dupes, get rid of all of your stuff, tag it all up. I wouldn't recommend starting to delete anything just yet. Just tag it for now, right? Just tag it for now. Okay, moving on to tip number 3, that would be filter out your low stat gear rolls. And so for me, I personally don't like to keep any armor that's below 58. I don't know why I picked 58. I think it's just because when you add 22 to 58, you get 80. You'll get 12 from your masterwork, and you get 10 from mod that you slot in. So it's a nice even 80. So for me, what I'm going to do, and remember, look in the description below, you'll have these search strings. We're going to copy paste the search string for this armor. And let's break that down real quick. So base stat total is less than 58. So it's going to show us all armor pieces that have a total of 57 or less, because it's less than 58, not less than or equal to 58. We're going to make sure we filter out exotics because exotics are a different story. We're going to make sure it's not our maximum power because we don't accidentally want to delete something that's our highest level gear. And then we're going to make sure it's not a class item, and we'll talk about class items later on. So for me, this returned about 22 different items. Basically, at this point, I can mark them all as junk and get rid of them. You'll notice, though, that some of your items might actually show super high. Like this Titan helmet here is 1060. This Titan helmet is also 1060. The reason why this is showing up as 1060, even though we have the search query as not max power, is because I have an armor piece on my Titan that's also 1060 that is above this other search query. So I'm going to have a Titan piece that's above 58 base stat total that's also 1060. So when you see a 1060 or 1058, 1059, whatever you're at right now, don't be alarmed. Just go out of your way to mark it as Infuse. You want to bulk tag your stuff first. So tag is junk. And then you can go through and start moving these tags around. So we'll move that back to Infuse. We'll move this one back to Infuse. So on and so forth until you have your gear looking where you want it to look like. Alright, so that's going to be a simple way of filtering out your lower leveled stuff, your lower stat items. Just because in the state of the game now, it's much easier to get super high stat rolled gear, and also gear that has very spiky stat roll. So you might get a gear with 60 stat base total overall, but it's going to have 23 in intellect and 17 in resilience or something like that, where two stats are going to be much higher than the other stats. So if you're looking for a specific build or a specific play style, the armor that you can get from the Prismatic Recaster, the armor you can get from completing milestones or turning in prime engrams are going to have better stat rolls for you anyways. Moving on to tip number 4 would be narrow down your armor sets. Now this kind of goes hand in hand with tip number 3, but basically the way I've calculated it, you only want to keep armor from Season of the Undying, Season of Arrivals, and then any Year 2, Last Wish, or Scourge of the Past armor. And the reason why you want to do that and delete any armor from Season of the Dawn and Season of the Worthy is because Season of the Undying can slot in any Opulence mods, any Undying mods, and any Season of the Dawn mods, right? And then Season of the Arrivals mods can be slotted into Arrival armor, so that would be Worthy, Arrival, and then whatever is in Beyond Light. So you're going to cover all your bases with just those 3 different mod slots there. And then Year 2 raids obviously can also slot in Taken Armaments, Fallen Armaments, things like that. So this is going to be a longer search query, so I do definitely recommend you check out the description box, copy paste this into your search bar and dim. Here we go. So we're going to go over here, we're going to grab this here, copy, we're going to paste it in here, Control V to paste. Now this is going to show up a lot of items. I have 65 items here that I can basically mark as junk, as delete. But let's go over just what it is that we're searching through. So the minus before a search query basically returns the opposite of that search query. So this isn't showing us everything that has an Undying mod slot. This is showing us basically everything that doesn't have an Undying mod slot, or an Arrival mod slot, or a Forge, or an Outlaw. Because remember, we want to keep all those. We want to keep Undying, we want to keep Arrival, we want to keep Forge and Outlaw. There's no Gambit one. And we don't need anything else besides that, basically. We want to make sure it's an armor piece. We don't really care about weapons or anything like that. We don't want to worry about exotics just yet. Exotic armor is definitely different because, once again, they can have much different stat rolls. Once again, we want to make sure it's not max power. And then for this one, I chose base stat total of minus 63 because maybe we'll get an armor piece that comes around that's 63 or higher. Where when you masterwork and add a mod slot into that bring it to 85. Something with super high stats like that, you probably do want to hold on to. But otherwise, it's just kind of adding to the clutter. And if you can cover all your mod slots with just the Undying and the Season of Arrivals mods, might as well clear up space in your vault as well, because with Beyond Light, we're going to get a whole bunch of new armor, a whole bunch of new weapons, and our vaults are going to get pretty dang full, pretty fast. And then not class item, once again, we'll talk about class item in just a bit. But use this search string to find items in your vault that you don't need or that you're not going to use. Remember, guys, we're clearing out our vaults. This stuff might have sentimental value to it. If it does, cool, hold on to it. But otherwise, it's just cool looking armor with maybe some good stats. You'll get better armor, you'll get better stats. Trust me. Okay, trust me. All right, moving on. Number 5, curate your class items. So here we go. We're going to talk about class items here. In my notes, I have keep 1 of each element, so Solar Arc and Void. Keep 1 from Undying, 1 from Arrivals, and 1 from Year 2. And then that way you can cover all your bases. You can get an easy year 2 class item from Menagerie. Just slot in a Joy rune and then either a green or a purple rune. Green is going to give you a Reverie Dawn set, and purple is going to give you the Tangled Shore set. That way you'll have a class item that can slot in Taken and Fallen armaments if you were lucky enough to get those from the raids. Otherwise, just like with armor, you're going to want to keep it to Undying and Arrival so you can have all your mod slots possible. You can even skip on having 3 of the year 2 armor slots and just go with a solar year 2 armor slot. That way you'll have one that can slot in Taken or Fallen, and you can swap between the two because you can't have the 2 different perks on them at the same time. You can swap in between the 2 depending on what content you're playing. And then solar, in my opinion, is the best energy slot for class items because it gives you the recuperation perk where picking up an Orb of Light instantly gives you health. It doesn't start regeneration, but it gives you health, which can definitely save your butt in a lot of different scenarios. So boil down your class items. Let's put in the search string here. Grab this here. Oops, copy that. And Control A will highlight everything. Control V. All right. So I've got a few here that I can dismantle. Once again, we have the not max power search query to make sure that we're not getting rid of our highest gear. My Titan's my main, so I already have some 1060. Looks like my Warlock does as well. Otherwise, I'm just going to delete all that. Remember, you can get an easy an easy Undying class item from doing the Pit of Heresy dungeon or going to the Nightmare table next to Eris and crafting one. Super easy. And then you just craft it until you get a solar one. And then masterwork that thing up. And then actually I have a bonus tip here. Tip number 6 would be Sparrows, Ships, and Ghosts. So starting with Ghost Shells, you're going to want to keep any ghosts that have Guiding Light, Treasure Hunter, and Speed Demon. You're going to want to dismantle basically everything else. I come to find that the ghosts that help you find destination materials aren't really that useful, and some ghosts only give you a chance, whereas Guiding Light gives you extra experience no matter what you're playing, Treasure Hunter gives you more Glimmer no matter what you're playing, and the Speed Demon reloads your weapons and summons your Sparrow instantly. So those are the 3 absolutely most influential perks that you want to keep on your ghosts. Go ahead and go down into the description, grab this search string. Let's do this here. Copy. Control A to select all, Control V to replace, and there we go. You're going to see 41 different ghost shells. And remember, if these are cool to you, you don't have to dismantle all of them. Definitely keep your eye out for stuff like the Leviathan shell here. You don't want to get rid of that one. The Kill Tracker Ghost for back when, I think this was a D2 pre-order. You don't want to dismantle that one either. But if I'm not mistaken, you can actually grab all of these from your collections anyways, and it'll actually re-roll, just like with how Sparrows can re-roll with the instant transmat. Everything else I've already marked as junk, but remember you can bulk mark as junk by going over to the tag and then click the junk button. It'll mark everything as junk for you. Right? So that's your ghosts. Now let's move on to your Sparrows. Your Sparrows, in my opinion, you only want to keep the instant summon stuff. I don't even keep the auto load stuff. Instant summon is 100% needed in my opinion. So you're going to grab the search query I've provided and we're going to replace it. And it's going to show you any Sparrows that you have that don't have instant summon. Now you can see I've done a pretty good job of keeping my Sparrows limited to just instant summon. However, there are some special edition Sparrows in here. We have the Scourge of the Past Sparrow. I do have this Void Streak Sparrow. That was from the Solstice event in 2019. And then we have this one here. This Alpine Dash Sparrow actually does have instant summon, but it's called a different name. It's got a different perk in it called Dawning Parade, which it says increased transmat speed with a side of Festive Delights. So it does the same effect with, cool little snow effect around it. But that's actually instant transmission or instant summon. So we don't want to get rid of that one. I've already marked it as keep. But this one we have here, this Canopus Triome or Trireme. This one doesn't have instant summon, so I'm going to mark it as junk already. And that way I'll be able to get rid of it. Now, I've been lucky enough to get a lot of them with instant summon, or I'll get a Sparrow, delete it, and rebuy it from my collection until it rolls with instant summon. But you really don't need that many Sparrows in your life. If you feel that one looks cooler than the one you have now, delete the one you have now and get your new one. You're only going to need a few Sparrows, right? And then ships. Let's talk about ships. This one's going to be controversial, but let's grab the search string, copy, Control A to select all. We don't need to save it. Control V to just paste over it. This search query is going to show you all the ships in your inventory that come from Eververse. Now, I've made the decision that, in my opinion, ships that you get from triumphs or trophies or achievements are more special than ships that you just get out of bright engrams. And if you agree with me, cool, use the search query. If you don't, then that's cool too. Keep your ships. But I've narrowed down all the ships in my collection that you just get out of luck, out of a bright engram. Maybe you bought with bright dust or you bought with silver. They're cool. I wouldn't necessarily delete all of them, but I don't need all these extra ships taking up space in my vault, right? So I'm going to delete a lot of these more plain looking ships, and I'm only going to keep the ships that come from Nightfalls, or that come from Triumphs, or that come from Forges or Iron Banner. I'm going to keep those in my inventory and kind of rock those out. And, if someone asks me, oh, where'd you get that ship? This way I won't just say, oh, you got it on a bright engram. No, I did this or I did that. I pre-ordered Forsaken, or I, did the New Monarchy event when factions were still a thing in Destiny 2 Year 1, right? It has a little bit more prestige to it. Alright guys, now that we have everything in our inventory tagged correctly, what we're going to want to do is a few last minute housekeeping things. We're going to want to use the search query tag junk, so copy that, Control V, it's going to mark everything that we've tagged as junk. Now, you'll probably have a lot more than me. This is just a quick rundown so that you guys can figure out what you want to get rid of. We're going to make sure that we click the tag. We're going to go to unlock items and unlock everything, right? So this way, when we go back to the game and we put it on a character, we don't have to waste time unlocking and locking and unlocking stuff. It's just all going to be unlocked, ready to get deleted. We're going to do that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move all of our junk to your main player character. So for instance, if I'm playing on my Titan's my main, or maybe you're playing on your Hunter today, it doesn't matter where you delete this stuff on, but we're going to wait for this refresh symbol to stop, so that way we know that everything's unlocked, ready to go, and we'll mass move that over to our character that we're going to be playing for the day. So I'll see you guys in a second when that stops moving. Alright, so as you can see, it's unlocked all 83 of my junk items. They're ready to be moved to my character. We'll move them to my Titans, a transfer search. So what I just did there is I clicked on my character, the little drop down menu appeared, and the very second thing is a little magnifying glass that says transfer search for your search query. So we clicked transfer search tag junk. This is going to start to move all of these junk items to the Titan, so that when we load up our Titan, we can just go right into the inventory, start holding square or start holding X, or whatever your dismantle button is, F if you're on PC, I think is the default binding, and just start getting rid of all of this gear that you don't need, that you're not going to be using, that you have better stat rolls, better weapon rolls of anyways in your vault already. So it's going to move everything over to there. What we're going to do next, and I'll talk about this while we wait for all this stuff to be moved over, is we're going to get ready to infuse. Now, it's kind of a simple process. You're going to think to yourself, well, dude, I'll just put all the infusion fuel in my character, and then I'll just move the items over. You could do that, but you're going to be moving a lot of items back and forth between your character. You're going to be pressing a lot of buttons. You're going to be using a lot of time just moving stuff over if you're using DIM for that. I have a tip for you that I discovered myself that I think is way easier, and that's actually to put all of your infused items in your vault. So that includes your dupes too. So items that you want to keep and items that you want to infuse are going to go into your vault, and you'll have much more vault space now because you've just deleted a whole bunch of junk characters or junk items on your character. So we're going to wait for all of these different items to be moved over to the Titan, and theoretically we would go in and then we would go delete all the stuff, but we're not going to do that just yet. We're going to try to, since I had some vault space open anyways, we're going to try to put all the infuse and all the dupe stuff into the vault. So I'll see you once everything's done being moved. Alright, so as you can see, the Destiny Item Manager has moved all of our junk items onto our Titan, or at least what it could fit onto our Titan. Now, theoretically, you would go in, you would start deleting all this gear. It would make a lot more space in your vault, but since I have an extra space open in my vault and some extra space open in my characters, we're going to go on to the next step, which is getting ready to infuse. So go ahead and check the description below for the next search query. I'm going to Control C, and then go into our search bar, Control V that, and that's going to bring up tag infuse or is dupe, and then this way you're going to see all these different weapons and armor pieces that you're going to either infuse or you're going to keep. You're going to actually want to move those all into your vault, so check this out here. We're going to click on our vault, we're going to click transfer search, tag infuse or is dupe, and that's going to move all of the items into the vault. Now I'm not going to do that right now because it's going to take quite some time to move it all into the vault because I haven't gone through and deleted all the junk stuff yet. But theoretically, once all of your infusion fuel, infusion fodder, and actual items you want to keep are in your vault, then it's very easy to just take a look at your items here. Obviously, one's going to be the one you want to keep, one's going to be the one you want to infuse, and you're going to take the one you want to infuse into your inventory and then inspect your weapon, and then that way you can just infuse right from your vault. You don't need to keep moving those into your inventory, then infuse and put stuff away, grab more stuff. You don't have to go through all those 6, 7, 8 different steps. You can just infuse directly in your vault to keep things nice and simple. Alright, my friends, there you go. There was 5 tips and a bonus tip for you for using Destiny Item Manager in 2020 to clear out your vault and make space for Beyond Light. If you like videos like this, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment down below, but definitely the best way to show support, subscribe to the channel and like the video, share it with your friends if you thought it was useful. Until the next video, guys, bye for now.